Today's video is brought to you by NordPass. While Disney live-action movies are coming without what seems like an end in mind, there is one that has actually been announced that, dare I say, has potential. 1997's Hercules. I've always liked Greek mythology, and Disney's take on this has been an interesting one. Hercules in other media has always been a Superman-like type. He's been untouchable, a force of nature.
Do I look afraid?
But Disney made him into a clumsy, unsure of himself hero, which is more intriguing in my opinion. And when you conflict that with a very interesting dynamic with Hades, like I said, it has potential. It's not your run-of-the-mill Disney film either. It has some room to change things and actually be good. I think it also lends itself better to live action than the majority of films that have been converted as well. Still, I think we need that right cast to nail this tone, that comedic, silly style, while still having the heart. So today we are recasting Hercules for live action. But before we get started, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, NordPass. Now, gone are the days where you can get by with one password for every single service you use online. And since we live in a world where it seems like you're making a new account daily, and it's only getting bigger and bigger, and requiring more and more logins and passwords, it just makes sense to have NordPass. It remembers your passwords and usernames for you, but also protects them. It actually generates incredibly hard passwords if you choose, or checks the health on your password and where they may be weak. And it actually remembers your credit cards as well as passwords, making checkout even easier. It allows you to share passwords safe and effectively, but I mainly like it is because it's easy to use, a one-stop shop, and keeps my passwords safe and secure. So go to NordPass right now and use the link below, or use the promo code BrianSeeker to get 70% off, as well as an extra month free. Check out the description below, and thank you NordPass for sponsoring this video. First up, we have the titular character himself, Hercules. I love his goofiness and pretty much how he kind of just puts up a front. He isn't that classic character we've heard so much about, and I love that. Yes, we need an actor who is handsome and muscular, everything that Hercules appears to be, but one who's clumsy and a little unsure of himself while looking like that classic leading man. He needs to be comedic and almost self-deprecating. I know a lot of people are looking at actors like Chris Hemsworth, but I feel like a lot of his comedy comes from being superior rather than unsure. That's why in my mind the only choice is Chris Pratt. I mean, do I even need to explain that? Like Guardians of the Galaxy, perfect example. Hero, but not in the traditional sense. His natural persona just fits. He could play that childlike uncertainty and put up that front of confidence that Hercules has, while still trying to figure it out as he goes.
I thought your thing was a sword.
We've been hired to stop an interdimensional beast from feeding on those batteries, and I'm gonna stop it with a sword.
It's just swords were your thing and guns were mine. But I guess we're both doing guns now. I just didn't know that.
So Chris Pratt as Hercules. Next up we have Phil, the satyr who has a real anger issue. Now he has one of two modes, barking orders and cold, or full force and praise and behind Hercules and kind of celebratory. Now I know that everyone wants Danny DeVito to reprise this role, because honestly he is the character, but the man is now 76 years old and really unlikely to do so. But I'd also assume that Disney is likely to separate the live action from the cartoon as they've done in the past. Plus it's a little lazy for me to just cast the same person who voiced him previously. So let's look elsewhere. As I mentioned previously, Phil is an angry satyr, but supportive. We need someone who can bring on that energy, but also has that look. I don't think we need to go with someone who's 2 feet tall, but someone who definitely leans a little bit towards that shorter side. And I think Paul Giamatti is a really great choice here. Sure, he's not better than Danny DeVito, but he's 5'7", is bald and bearded, and definitely has a look reminiscent of Phil. But he definitely has that angry, done with everything feel.
Shut up, shut up, shut up! Jesus Christ, man, what the hell is wrong with you? Please, just shut up!
But he can also be a cheerleader and be supportive, as we saw in Cinderella Man.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, Mary Magdalene, all the saints and martyrs, and Jesus. Did I say Jesus? Where the hell did that come from?
I think this would lean into that little bit more of a serious side as I was talking about, but either way, if we have to look for a choice other than Danny DeVito, he's the one who would pull it off. So Paul Giamatti as Phil. Next up we have the duo, Pain and Panic. Kind of the comic relief of a film that really has a lot of comedy already. Still, I think a lot of the comedy could come from this in the live action, if we do take a more serious tone. They are two shape-shifting imps of Hades, and of course, they're kind of useless. They only serve them because they're fearful, and obviously they play into their names. Now I know who the internet already wants, and I agree, because I gotta go with the perfect pairing here. Someone who fits into the characters but also can do their own thing. Pain and Panic should be John Mulaney and Kroll. The chemistry, their iconic voices. I think they would expand on already funny characters and do some improv and really turn it into something magical.
What year was John Mulaney born?
1982. Boring question.
But, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
What year were you born?
You know what's interesting? 1980.
They also have an arsenal of kind of funny voices they can fall back on as well, where it comes to the scenes where Pain and Panic are disguising their voices. I just think this would be perfect. So John Mulaney and Nick Kroll as Pain and Panic. Next up we have Meg, the real reason why this movie works for me. Yes, she gives sass unlike any other character out there, but it's her dynamic with Hades and her story that makes this story interesting. Of course, we need that sass, both in looks and performance, but we also need that smoothness that Meg has. I think Elizabeth Gillies perfectly toes that line without being too much. She's also not very well known of an actress as well, which I think works for this. She has that strength of character, which helps us buy into her actually working with Hades, and I can see her going back and forth with Hercules. She can play the sass and the confidence we need here.
Is there any way that you can thank me by not inviting me only because I'm very busy, and this way we can skip the awkwardness of me walking in on you and some rando again?
You're coming.
Wouldn't miss it.
So Elizabeth Gillies as Meg. Next up we have Zeus. Now Zeus in the Disney live action film is not the same Zeus as Greek mythology. He's largely a loving father who is overcome by his loss of Hercules. Although he spends majority of the film as a larger-than-life statue, he shows great humor and lightness, as well as that godlike presence. This is where I think Jeff Bridges would shine and is the perfect choice here. He has that presence of a god, but he also has that lightness, that humor. He wouldn't be afraid to go into that silliness. As we've seen in Big Lebowski and a number of roles, I think he can play that flighty nature, and I can see him working really well with Chris Pratt. Just look at Bridges not even acting. He just has that same warm tone.
I thought of myself as sort of a counterpuncher, you know, there's happening, and then what do you do? You know?
So Jeff Bridges as Zeus. Lastly, we have Hades, the hardest to cast in my opinion. Not because there aren't any choices, but actually a lot that I think could work here. Now, of course, James Woods was iconic as Hades. I love that he had a different take on the character, rather than just the opposing character we normally see. And I love that Disney definitely lent into his real-life persona, similar to what they did with Genie and Robin Williams. He's not just menacing, but he talks like a slimeball salesman. He goes fiery and angry as Hades should, but he's also a smooth talker, trying to get his way with his words.
Ladies, please. My fate is in your lovely hands.
This is really tough to do. I think a lot of people are throwing out names there, but not ones that work for the whole spectrum of the character. I can see Jeff Goldblum working well for that smoothness and that flightiness, but I can't see him turning into a rage monster. In the same way Benedict Cumberbatch's name has been thrown around a lot. And although I can see him do the menacing, I don't think he really has that slimy nature or that car salesman vibe. Tom Hiddleston is a good mix of the both, but I actually think I have a better option here. Michael Keaton. If you think about it, he has it all. He has that anger, fueled aggression, but also that slimy smooth talking. You don't have to look beyond Beetlejuice, which definitely gives off that vibe.
What's really beautiful about this? You two kids picked me. You didn't have to, but you picked me. It makes me want to kiss you guys.
Sure, it's turned up to 11, but you can see he has that in his wheelhouse. And he can definitely lean on that scarier side as well, as we've seen in his villain roles.
Good old Spider-Man.
And I also like that he's almost the same age as Jeff Bridges, who I cast as Zeus as well. They are supposed to be brothers and should be similar in age. I think he's the best choice for the role and the most capable actor to do what James Woods did, but to have their own spin on it.
Those people, Pete, those people up there, the rich and the powerful, they do whatever they want. Guys like us, you and me, they don't care about us.
So Michael Keaton has Hades. So there is my live action Hercules. Let me know in the comments below what your choices are. I always love reading them. And let me know which ones I got right or wrong. And let me know what I should do next. I've been doing the Disney live action, so let me know if you're enjoying this and if you want me to continue with these. Some people were saying Incredibles, and I think that's pretty interesting, so I might go there. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.